Hello, my name is John. I was just 5 years old. Everything I knew was taken from me in a single night. A fire swept through our home, taking both my parents and leaving me alone. In a world that suddenly felt dark and terrifying. There was no more laughter, no bedtime stories, no warm hugs. I was sent to live with my uncle, a man who never wanted me there in the first place. He made it clear from the start that I was a burden, something that had been dropped on his doorstep without his choosing. His home, already tense and stretched, had no space for a child like me. I wasn't welcomed. I was tolerated, barely. It stuck me in the attic, a cold and drafty space with a thin, worn-out mattress on the floor and no blankets. There was no heat, no warmth, just four walls and a single, dusty window. My cousins had warm beds and hot meals. They laughed and played downstairs while I sat alone upstairs, listening to their joy like it was something I had no right to. I remember the names they called me, the way they made fun of my clothes, my silence, the way I kept to myself. I wasn't allowed to sit at the table with them most nights, and even when I was, no one really spoke to me, unless it was to mock or criticize. I learned early on to stay quiet, to not expect affection or fairness. I became used to the shadows, to the loneliness. But deep inside, something still burned, a flicker of hope that maybe someday things could be different. I tried to help around the house. I cleaned the dishes before anyone asked, folded laundry that wasn't mine, and swept the floors without complaint. I thought maybe, just maybe, if I proved I wasn't a burden, they'd begin to see me as family. But no matter what I did, it was never enough. They laughed when I tried to join in their conversations. My efforts were dismissed like I was just trying too hard. Eventually, I stopped trying to connect. I withdrew into my own world. A quieter, safer place where I didn't have to defend myself or seek approval that would never come. I carried my dreams inside me, hidden like treasures only I could see. They were mine, and they were untouched by the ridicule. Books became my escape. I read everything I could get my hands on. Old newspapers, cast-off science magazines, whatever the neighbors threw out. I was fascinated by the human body, by stories of doctors saving lives, by the complexity and beauty of science. We didn't have much. I walked to school in worn-out shoes, and my lunch was often just a piece of bread. But I never complained. I sat in the front row, listened closely, and raised my hand whenever I knew the answer. Even when I didn't, I tried. I imagined a future where I was helping people in a hospital, where I wore a white coat and brought comfort to others the way no one ever had for me. The lack of toys or brand new clothes never bothered me. I had a dream, and that was enough to keep going. When I got sick one winter, I stayed in bed for 3 days straight. No one checked on me. No one brought water or asked if I needed anything. I lay there, shivering under a thin blanket, healing myself the only way I knew how, by closing my eyes and remembering the sound of my mother's voice, her stories, her laugh, the way she used to tuck me in. I imagined her sitting next to me, stroking my hair and whispering that everything would be okay. Those memories carried me through the fever and the ache. They reminded me who I was, even when the world around me tried to make me forget. And those lonely moments, I learned how powerful hope can be, even when it's the only thing you have left. In middle school, I got the chance to enter the school science fair. I spent weeks working on a simple project, a model of the human heart made out of cardboard and colored string. It wasn't fancy, but I put everything I had into it. On the day of the fair, I stood next to my display, watching other kids laugh with their families. My uncle didn't come. Neither did anyone else from home. But my teacher walked up, took one long look at my project, and smiled. "You're going to change the world," she said softly, her voice full of pride. I had never heard anyone say something like that to me before. Her words lit a fire in me that still burns today. Even though my cousins rolled their eyes and teased me when I got home, I didn't care. That one moment of encouragement meant more than anything they could take away from me. By the time I was 14, I took a job shelving books at the local library. It wasn't just about earning a few dollars. I wanted to be near the books, especially the ones on anatomy, biology, medicine. I'd stay late sometimes, reading in the back corners while waiting for my bus. Even when I wasn't feeling well or the rain made it hard to get there, I went. Every day. I showed up, I studied, I learned. Meanwhile, my cousin, once the golden boy of a house, started skipping school, getting into trouble. We were both growing up under the same roof, but our choices were taking us in opposite directions. I clung to discipline and hope. He leaned into resentment and rebellion. Home life stayed hard. My uncle never asked about my grades or showed any interest in what I was doing. If I got an A on a test, he barely looked up from his plate. But if I forgot to take out the trash or didn't finish my chores, he was quick to yell. The house always felt tense, like something could snap at any minute. I'd wait until everyone went to sleep and study under a dim lamp in the attic, pushing through the fatigue. One teacher, Mrs. Clark, noticed how hard I worked and started slipping me extra books and resources. She gave me articles to read, talked with me after class, and helped me prep for tests. Her belief in me made me want to try even harder. Later, I found a mentor who saw something different in me. He didn't just see a quiet, overworked kid. He saw someone who cared deeply, who had strength and kindness most people overlooked. "Don't let bitterness grow on your heart," he told me once. "There's a beautiful life waiting for you, but you have to keep believing in it." His words stuck with me. Even when I got into the honor society in high school, no one at home celebrated. I didn't hear a single congratulations, but I smiled anyway, holding on to the joy in my own heart. I didn't need anyone else to validate my journey. I knew what I was building and who I was becoming. The summer before college, I joined a special medical training program at a local hospital. It was my first time inside a real hospital, not as a patient, but as someone learning how things worked. I got to shadow doctors, help with simple tasks, and observe procedures. One doctor in particular stood out. He wasn't just brilliant, he was patient, kind, gentle. He taught me that medicine isn't just about knowledge, it's about compassion. He told me that listening is often more powerful than diagnosing. His example shaped the kind of doctor I wanted to become. Even as I moved forward through college, internships, and eventually med school, I still heard my uncle's voice in my head, telling me I wasn't good enough, that I'd never make it. But I kept pushing forward anyway. Every challenge, every sleepless night, every long exam reminded me that I was capable. I didn't want to become a doctor just to heal others. I wanted to be someone who truly connected with people, who could look them in the eye and say, I understand. I carry my path with me, not as a weight, but as a reminder of how far I'd come. I was proud of the scars. They meant I'd survived. As I became more established in my career, I realized that true success isn't about how many awards you win or how many letters follow your name. It's about what you do with the knowledge and power you gain. I opened a few free clinics in areas that had been forgotten, places where people couldn't afford healthcare or were too scared to ask for it. I mentored younger students who had rough starts like I did. And somewhere in the middle of all that, I met someone who truly saw me. Elise. She was calm, brilliant, and kind in all the ways that mattered. Together, we built a family rooted in warmth and trust, the kind I never had growing up. We made it our mission to bring that love into our community. My journey to becoming a doctor wasn't just about getting degrees or proving people wrong. It was about healing myself in the process. Every patient I treated, every smile I received, every thank you whispered in a hospital hallway, it all stitched me back together. The pain I carried didn't disappear, but it transformed. I forgave those who had hurt me, even if they never asked for forgiveness. I found peace. I found meaning. And I realized that sometimes the greatest gift you can offer the world is the compassion you were once denied. Now I mentor young medical students, reminding them that empathy is just as important as expertise. I teach them to listen with their hearts and to treat every patient as someone's loved one. Elise and I even started a small school for underprivileged kids, using stories and play to spark their imagination and help them believe in themselves. I tell them about my past, not to make them sad, but to show them that pain can shape strength, that they're not alone. Kindness isn't weakness, it's power. It's choosing light when darkness seems easier. And every night, when I close my eyes, I dream of my mother. I feel her near me, her voice reminding me to keep going. I whisper back that I've made it, that I'm still standing, that her love carried me here, and I'll carry it forward always.